It's been about a week since I've been diagnosed with my T-cell lymphoma cancer. I've come to a place of acceptance, an acceptance that I have this disease and that it could possibly kill me. However, I'm not going to go down without a fight. However, I do feel that my cancer is progressing quite rapidly. At first, I had only night sweats, fevers, weight loss, chest pains, occasional fatigueness, along with red rashes and dry, itchy skin. However, now my symptoms have continued on into enlarged lymph nodes, plaques, raised skin, and even yesterday I found a large circular bump on my inner thigh. That could possibly be tumorous. After discovering my cancer, I've realized that I want to research this and really know what's going on with my body, so I talked to my doctor and I also researched on my own. I realized that what's happening to my body is that the cancer is creating mutations within my DNA. What's happening to my DNA are mutations which are permanent changes in the base pair sequence in the DNA of an organism. There are two types of mutations, point mutation and frameshift mutation. This is what is done to the DNA. Point mutation is when a single base pair is changed only. For example, if one amino acid is changed, it is no longer its original self or structure of the whole protein. A frameshift mutation is when base pairs are inserted or deleted, not replaced. However, there are three sub-counterparts of point mutation, which are nonsense, missense, and silent mutation. Missense mutation is a point mutation that transcribes a codon that codes for a different amino acid. Nonsense mutation is a point mutation that transcribes a premature stop in the codon. Silent mutation is when point mutation that transcribes a codon that codes for the same amino acids. There are two types of frameshift mutation as well: insertion, which is when base pairs are inserted, and deletion, when base pairs are deleted. I found myself asking, how do these changes in my DNA become symptoms to my cancer? I then researched and asked my doctor, and I realized that DNA has a specific job and it codes for proteins to make other things in my body. When there's a mutation in my DNA cannot then do that job correctly. So I've learned that depending on one of these mutations that are inside my body, they can destroy certain proteins I need to fight the infection because of the mutation it is causing in my DNA. My DNA cannot do my job that is needed in my body, so therefore my body has a symptom or is now having an illness that it did not once have because something's going wrong in that sequence. These mutations relate to the central dogma because it then messes up the sequence, which is a framework that states that DNA is transcribed to RNA, which is then translated into proteins. So if the DNA cannot be transcribed to RNA in the first place, then the RNA cannot be translated into proteins. Therefore, the protein will never be made, which can cause serious damage to my body if that protein is necessary to maybe my immune system, which is why I'm getting this cancer in the first place. So from these mutations, it can cause my symptoms because maybe that is why I'm becoming fatigued, because there are not enough proteins in my body being made to maybe level out my fatigueness. Or I'm getting chest pains because proteins are needed there. Or weight loss because I'm missing proteins. Or I'm getting fevers because proteins are not being translated into my body. There are many different types of reasons why I'm getting symptoms, but one of the main ones might be because of mutations in my body, which are lacking the reproduction of protein, which can be super crucial to how my body functions. With all medical talk aside, however, this cancer is definitely taking a toll on my emotional state. I find myself being super depressed, asking myself, what am I going to do? I'm going to die anyway. Why should I do this? Why should I do that? Why should I be happy if I'm going to die? However, from that depression, I've also gained a much larger want for life and to be happy, because I know that I can die from this cancer, but I don't want to die being sad. I want to die knowing that I lived the fullest life I could have lived. So it's such an encouragement to me. However, there are down days where I just feel like I don't want to do this anymore. the pain and the irritation is too much. But then I remember that this is my life and I'm not going to let cancer win. My family and my friends and the people around me are responding so great. They're being so supportive. However, I don't want them to feel sorry for me, which I've noticed that a lot of them have been doing. They look at me now as if I'm handicapped or if I'm unable to do things. But in reality, I can. I'm just the same person, just I have cancer. However, they have been so supportive, always being there for me, and I can't ask for better friends and family during this hard time. For my future, I want to be happy and I want to live. I don't want to be crippled from this. I don't want it to stop the way I live. I know that I'm going to have trials and tribulations, but I definitely do not want to stop living and being the person I am. For the future, I know that I can die from this, especially because my cancer can only be treated, not cured. But I definitely do not want to be sad anymore, and I'm going to live and be happy and fight this cancer. And who knows, maybe in the end, I'll win. I expect that the cancer will progress, and once I talked to my doctors and did some research, I then realized that the cancer will continue to grow and I will begin to get large bumps just like I'm getting now, with more inflammation of my lymph nodes, rashes that take over more than 30% of my body, tumors on the skin. And if none of the topical treatments or radiation that I can get results in failure, it could spread into my internal organs. And if all treatments are used and if no change occurs, then my cancer will become terminal. However, going back to the treatments that I might experience, it can vary. Usually, they will start me off with topical cream to put on the bumps and protrusions on my body, and hopefully that will stop the cancer from the outside. If that doesn't work, I would then move on to chemotherapy, which is a drug that is inflicted into the body through either my arm or my hand, sometimes even a port on the chest. And this will then attempt to take down the cancer from the inside. If that doesn't work, I'll then move on to radiation or ultraviolet light therapy, which will put either ultraviolet light or radiation onto the designated spots where the cancer is growing, either where the tumors are or where the rashes are, and hopefully that will slow down the process or stop it altogether. And lastly, if that doesn't work, they can try a stem cell. And if those don't work, my final option is a stem cell transplant, which is done with either a family member or a friend or even a donor. And what is done is that they take out the healthy stem cells of the donor and then implant them into my body, and then that will hopefully help my body to reproduce healthy white blood cells.